And here we enter the third turn march. New cards shuffled in, the whole deck shuffled together and dealt out. No special handling here. 3 Jaegers are coming in along with Civil Guards, 3 times the control. That's fine. However, the red are beginning to reduce. They get an armored train and only twice the number of strategic towns under their control. So reinforcements are beginning to stabilize. I think the whites have made it through the rough period. This was the time when maybe Vasa could have fallen. We got slammed pretty hard, but overall, I'm feeling a lot more hopeful for the white position now that I look at the reinforcement track. And that probably gives me a hint towards the cards, which is to say, you know, the game probably has a risky period at the beginning when the reds can get a lot of pieces on the board, and the whites could make a mistake and lose Vasa. After that, it's a question of how much of the territory did I hold in order to regain stuff? I mean, this is just guessing, right? But I like to do this while I play, and you know, in order to inform how I'm gonna attack the game. It's a matter of how much did I manage to hold, because I'm gonna have to fight my way to get that back, and also how much am I gonna have to fight through in terms of red troops. It seems to be pretty easy to manage attacks, except where maybe there are bottlenecks, like here, where I can only attack with, you know, 1 stack. But there are other ways through, right? So the bottled up position, in a sense, both sides are in, is very good defensively. It's not perfect, but there's a lot of troops on the front. There's not a lot of front. And that's creating some problems. For example, mainly because of stacking. So like, if I want to attack with this unit, I have some desire to make just a single attack. Well, it's probably not going to get through there, and then I'm going to be leaving a weak spot that can be easily counterattacked. I think what the whites are going to do, although I'm not thrilled with this, if they're going to play a defensive card, I feel like I have to attack. I have a number of defensive cards, but I'm going to play this one, which sits out in front. Oh no, this is the one I was thinking about, but it gives me an action point, and an action point doesn't help me because there's no place where I can attack with just a single unit very well. On the other hand, there's no place where I can really focus 2 units into an attack either, like 2 stacks into an attack terribly well. Jeez. The only other option is really just try to bludgeon my way through, you know? And the only place where that's at all likely to succeed is here. I mean, I got some chance there, but whatever. Crap. So, I think what I'm going to do instead, this is a really cool card. If I can get a focus, what it does is it activates 2 different towns. If one of the towns destroys red units or causes them to withdraw, I think it has to kill all of them or cause them to withdraw. You advance after that attack because otherwise you couldn't advance. And then you activate units in another town. So it keeps its 3-point value if you do things right. It doesn't give you any real bonuses other than that extra activation, but that's pretty cool. Here, this may be my best. All right, so this gives me an action point again. I don't want an action point. All right, so I'm going to play this thing. It gets rid of a crappy card. Activate units in a town. You get +1 to attack and a column shift on the attack table. And I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, versus 6, which isn't optimal by any means. This is where it's dangerous, me. Okay, so 7. A column shift and +1 means I do 3 hits, but I take 4. And I don't want to leave half units around. They're not terribly useful, so I'm not going to just kill 3 halves. But I have to take 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not good at all. Wow, those don't lose much. However, they do lose their ability to advance. And this card is gone, and now things don't look so good for the whites suddenly. They're going to play this card, and in part it's to get rid of it. Because it's a 2-point card, which is so whatever. But activate units in Tampere. On this turn, these units get +1 to their attack roll. Well, this is one of the few times I'm going to be able to use a stack and just slide it into place like that. So I'm going to set them forward 1, 2, to Vilpida, and launch an attack with my cheese. And that gives me only 1 chew. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to 3, and I'm at +1. And I get a good roll anyway. 4 with a bonus to 2. There goes a red guard. This goes. These move up. And overall, that was pretty decent. I'm going to play a lasting card. It's not optimal at all. I've got 6 attack points to 7 defense, but the advantage to this is I get a -3 on a red attack roll if I want. And I kind of have to gain ground here. One of the problems, there's so few paths that you really have to kind of blast your way out like this. Okay, so we were talking about 6. I do 2 hits. 7, they're going to do 4. Boom. And a chew stays. And this isn't good at all, because the reds could actually shift forces up and slap into here, and that puts them right near Vasa. This is not yet out of play, though, and this stays until I decide to fire it off. Now, obviously, I'll probably fire it off if there's an attack here. But other attacks, maybe not. Like if red comes up here and plinks at that, yeah, screw it, right? More or less what the reds are going to do anyway. 1, 2. I can move this one too. Let's get it 1, 2, 3 set up so that I got a bigger stack there to follow up or whatever. This is nothing special. I'm just playing it as the card. It's a useful card, but I don't really need more troops right now. So, and now I'm going to launch my attack here. And that's going to be 5, 8, 10 to 2. But he's going to trigger this, so it's -3, I guess. I don't know, -3? Yeah, he might survive. And that's important. He does survive. It's only 1 hit. Doesn't do anything there. But this card is gone from the game now. And that was the important thing. Now the whites have to figure out some way to stave off further disaster. I think what it's going to be is quite simple, actually. I think we're going to fortify this space and activate another space and slip some troops down there. I don't think we want to throw our Jaegers down there yet, because they're so good on the offensive and not all that much. I mean, they're twice as good on defense, but whatever. It's time to try to just pound our way through. We're going to use these machine gunners. Activate this. I got 5, 8, 10. Got +1 versus 5. Column shift switch, though. Okay. So it's actually not 10, it's going to be 7 to 8 at +1. Which means I'm going to do 3 hits, and over here it's 5, which goes to 7 to 8. 4 hits, at least one of which has to be a special unit. Okay, well, 3 hits here. We'll reduce the number of counters again. And 4 hits here, well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, not so good. Not so good, but yeah. All right, well, now white sees a weakness, and maybe they can plow back in. And I think it's time for me to play this. This is a nice follow-on card. I'm going to activate these two towns to begin with. Jesus. Boy. This doesn't work. But just because I have no openings, everything's so stuffed, I can't throw this anywhere where he's going to be useful for the follow-on attack. Okay. All right, so now I'm making an attack at 10 to 3. I get no bonuses here. There are no cards in play. So let's see. Go. I do 2, but take nothing. That's good enough to take this. And I can move everything forward. And now I can activate units in an additional town, which can move and attack normally. And that, I think, will be this town. 1, 2, 3. See, the problem is I can't activate them here, I don't think. It's an additional town. I already activated this town. They stuck around. I activated this town, and that's why I'm saying there's kind of no easy way for me to do this. But 1, yeah, this is how I got myself in the problem before. 2, 3 down to here. And now at least I've pushed the front line back where it was. This is not a discard permanently card. And now the Reds have to do something because Tampere is exposed. And that was the thing. If this guy could have moved 1, 2, 3, he could have made it down as far as here. He couldn't have made it into Tampere, but that's life, right? Some hand culling. And this is kind of a cool card to be reducing your deck, actually. Deck culling. Now, look at the cards in your opponent's hand and give them back. Lets you know something about it, but it also costs you, I don't know, it improves your capabilities in the future, but it costs you a card right now. But I get an action point, which is what I really want, is just 1. Oh, I hope. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. And now I can launch an attack coming up this way, which is going to be 6 to 2. There's no modifiers in play this time. I can look at their cards. It's not going to affect me. So 6 gets me 2 hits. Both sides take 2 hits. And that's sufficient for me to take the space. I'll launch an attack using this card for its special ability, which gives him a +1 hit. It doesn't. I thought I used it already. 4 red cards. Yep, right. I've got my numbers right. So I've got 10 points. I could attack 10 to 4, which is pretty good, or 10 to 5 here. 10 can't do more than 4 hits. I think gaining this space is better. And it also reduces his chance of hitting me. So I get the big 4. And only get hit with 1. Which will be this poor guy. We wipe him out. But see, here's the problem. I can't move both of these down here, or else this just gets captured. And, so I just march down with 1. And now I'm putting a threat on Tampere. And the Reds have to respond to that one way or another. Now, cutting this off might be part of that action, but otherwise, they got to put something in there to block. Cheap card maneuvered me up there, and I think up to here as well. And then the whites threw a reinforcement using a card for themselves. And we're kind of at this, geez, we're kind of stuck again, you know. Nothing's happening, but the whites are going to get more and more reinforcements. from the table. So eventually they should be able to take most of this territory. It's just how long can the Reds delay them? How many of these setbacks can they do? How ugly can they make it? Because the Whites have trouble getting out of the position they're in. And once they can break out of that, I think it'll get a lot easier for them, though. Have a big attack. 2 towns, they took here and back here, brought the trains up, and now they're hitting, well, 5, 7, 9 to 5, but I got +2 to my attack roll. So I do 4 hits. What was 5? All right, well, we both take 4, but he has to take 1 on. He has to get wiped out, which is the problem, because now we've cut supply to these guys. But he has to take 4. That'll be all the regulars. The train's enough, though. This card does not have an asterisk, so it goes back. And now the Whites have to figure out how to get this back. If they don't get it back, the Reds can either knock this out and or throw reinforcements up that way. It's going to be a big attack. I used up all kinds of locations to get myself a 14 against 5 there. No bonuses though. So that's only 3 hits to 4 hits. It would normally be a failure. There's no asterisk on that 4. So I can take out of here. Boom, boom. 3 hits, though, is enough to wipe out the train, which means we can advance, and we got to be a little bit more careful. Last time we got kind of hammered. One thing about this game, because of the limited number of channels of attack, the limited amount of different things, and that there's no limitation on moving units within a month, right? Within a span of a turn, there's a limitation, but within a month, there's no limitation on which units can be moved and moved and moved, and where the fights happen and such not. So you just have fighting going back and forth. Once there's a hole in the line, once there's a weakness between the two sides, that's where all the fighting seems to concentrate. And it kind of reminds me of some of the others, like 13 Days. There was a Spanish one that I don't know if it was a CDG. It's the Numbskull Spanish Civil War game, where that was a little different, a little less luck dependent, I think, and therefore it was even more fixed on this. But you basically, your opponent did something and you had to counter it. Whatever was done always required a counter move, and you just, here there's kind of the, well, we're sitting on a fixed line, who's going to break it, who's going to play chicken, and I'm not sure where the advantage goes, whether it's to the attacker or defender. Obviously the defender has the advantage on the combat chart, but the attacker can bring more forces to bear, can pick where they want their attack. The problem is there's a lot of places where basically your only attack is one stack against one stack, and then you're probably damaging yourself trying to dislodge the situation a little bit. With the pressure on again, they hit one of these Jaegers. They took more damage themselves, I think. I hope, I had 3 units there, that's why. But, the idea is, well, there are a lot less white troops right now. This may be the time when, I can break through. It's not going to be, and then there's going to be a horde more white troops coming in and not enough red troops. But it looked promising for, a moment after I saw the results. I'd use reinforcement cards, strengthening their position in the center there. This one goes away. It's a good card, but... And that gets us to the end of the month. What's our supply situation? Well, this, of course, flips hands again. Everywhere else, I think we're pretty much in fixed supply. There's just not much going on. Now, I'm worried about Germans coming in this way. I don't know when that's going to happen. And I'm not adequately defending against them, I fear, with like Helsinki here. I'm going to have to make sure they have to fight their way aboard. I should look at that special card before it comes out. It comes out in April. Oh, shit. This is April coming up. Well, it may be, I'll have my reinforcements, so I'll be able to look at it. Speaking of which, that's what we're going to, is the April turn. And this one's in the history books. Okay, well, as we enter April here, the big defining feature is, look, the Germans is coming. There's going to be 6 Germans starting out here, and they can land in these anchor areas. Now, yes, I'm not well defended for them, but luckily I have some reinforcements coming. We'll have to defend Helsinki and Viipuri. We're certainly not set up in the best of ways to react to this, and I probably would have played the Reds very differently if I knew this was happening. But on the other hand, there isn't all that much that I have available to play with. This is a bottleneck. This is a bottleneck. These guys, I didn't really have operations to move. I don't really have an extra force around to do much with. And these guys are available to react to German problem. And then, okay, well, what am I going to do with my other units? Well, obviously, I'm going to drop a bunch of them into Helsinki and a couple of them into Viipuri. And then I got one more that I can use probably to flesh out one of these stacks, make it a little bigger. I don't want to let the whites come storming down, so I want to keep these bottlenecks. However, it's the whites' turn first. They get a whole pile of hunters. And we want to fill this stack up. Guess I'll put a pile there just because it might as well. And the next place up is here. There really isn't anywhere else for us to go. So that's their reinforcements. The Reds cover Helsinki. We got to make sure this is protected because a landing here could then move here. If we look at the card, I believe they're allowed to land and then do a normal movement. You can stay at sea too, but that doesn't sound terribly advantageous. Getting your units on the board seems better. And like I said, I'll throw the extra one there. Right then. I think it's really cool that even though, maybe I would have played a little differently, although I don't know how much, thinking more about the Germans coming. But on this first play, just the knowledge that they're coming in now, I have that ability to drop my reinforcements and protect things. I find that really cool. It means that, this first play was not a total mess. Yes, I made some other errors too, but whatever, I always hate when a game's so unforgiving that you don't have an opportunity to just, say, I need to take back on this. That's pretty easy. Sometimes there's games, for example, it would be hard for me to take back the last action card, right? But here, if somebody dropped that German card, I'd be like, oh, well, that's pretty shitty of you. I should have known that happened. And they would probably agree and say, oh, okay, yeah. Doesn't have a card that allows them to do something useful in terms of pounding this and reinforcing that at the same time. I'm probably safe. In fact, I am safe. So I don't know that I want to do that. I think I will look for something else. Do I have any combat cards? Yeah, I am going to play this. So this allows me to discard this card into the reshuffle deck. And then I draw 2 cards from the draw deck. One gets played immediately and one gets discarded. Probably got something better. Okay. Here I get to activate units in 2 towns and then the follow-up. I like that card, and maybe that's kind of what I was looking for. Although maybe I'd like the Germans to be on the board before I played it. If the red player has played forced recruitment of the red guards, remove all red guards from one town that has civil guards next to it and is not a strategic town. Wow, this is even stronger. But did I play forced recruitment of the red guards? I don't know. I'm going to have to look through all these cards. If it's not a permanent remove card, we got a problem. It is an April card, and it's not a permanent remove, which leads me to believe that there should be a requirement to mark this somehow. As you can see, I've punched the counters I've needed. I don't know if they gave me an extra counter sheet or something. It doesn't really look like it, unless they haven't figured out their numbers yet. But even if I was down to only these two counter sheets, which, well, they don't have the fortresses there. So I think all three counter sheets are intended. They probably ought to make a counter for this card, or some other way to note it. Because, yeah, I'll probably know on this turn, you know, whether or not that card's played. Anyway, this one's not going to have the bonus effect that it would, which would be to get rid of this. I would get rid of that and I would sneak into Tampere. Well, not this turn. The reds would have a chance. So I'm going to discard that and I'm going to play this one. Ooh, my discards go up here. For whatever reason, I keep them on the board. Activate these two towns and attack with both of them. This probably can't get anywhere, but we'll see. If I can advance, that may put me in a nice position where I can march down from Vasa and launch an attack on Tampere. Maybe. So, let's do this one first. So I got 8 to 3. Well, because I thought, no modifiers. My rolls, and I gotta fix my thing. That's only 2 hits to each side. So we'll each lose a unit there. And that has not destroyed nor caused a withdrawal. That's the one I wanted a success on no matter what, because then I could maybe curve around down this way and do some good. These guys, much less likely. Ew, I thought that was a real unit. It's not too bad. 7 to 6. You can see our chart. We made a bonus layer. I'm rolling over here. Noise, really. These big dice make a lot of noise when you roll, and I don't have a tray. So 3 to 4. And we'll take all these whites. And the reds. And well. And I guess when this gets played, yeah, it's going to go back in the deck, right? It's no bonus. I'm not drawing from somewhere else. All right. Well, I didn't get the advances I want, and in fact, I've weakened my position, but I think the Reds are on the retreat now because the Germans is coming. Talk a little bit about victory conditions before I get to this card. The Reds currently hold 3 of the major cities. The Whites have to get 2 of those 3. They have to get up to 4 this turn to win the game. I don't remember if that's end of the turn or at any time, but the 2 that I need to hold, well, I mean, I have 3, right? But I could conceivably lose this or this, depending on how things go. But if I lose this, I probably will not be in supply up here, and that's going to be problematic. So this is what I want to defend the most. And the next turn, I only have to hold 1, and obviously Viipuri is going to be my easiest. I have a bunch of cards that came out that give me extra forces. There's one that gives me 4 red guards. This is from the January deck, but I still have it. I also have things that help me defensively, like this screws with the Jaeger movement. It makes them more expensive. This one gives me a -2 defensive bonus and an action point, which I probably will want to play, but right now I have other things I'm a little bit more worried about. Troops that can come in at St. Petersburg and flood to defend Viipuri. That's probably most useful next turn. I'll play it this turn, but because I want those troops, and it's only a 3-point card. More troops. More troops. More troops. And I've already dodged the bullet, so even if I knew the cards and was playing and planning for things, this would probably be a fairly safe time to play it. But this one, the red player controls the entire railway from Russia to Helsinki. 2 fully manned red guards in a town connected to the supply line. I am going to drop those guys. I could put them anywhere I like, but I'm going to drop them there. That's where I think I need reinforcements right now. To blockade off. Wait, Kovala's not. Uh-oh. Helsinki is. Ooh, this is not good. All right, that's not where we're putting them. And it has to be in one town. I'm not sure how many units can attack. Let's take a look at that German card. They may attack towns. It looks to me like all of them could conceivably attack Helsinki. If they wanted something different, there would have to be a restriction in there. So I could have up to 6 German units, and they're 5-point units. So, 3 of them gets me to the 15 to 16 table, hitting Helsinki. I don't know if I can hold Helsinki. I hate to do this. I thought this was a special town. It looked like this lake sticking out here. It looked like one of those special town markers, right? I had better put troops in Tampere just to make sure. And I'm actually in danger of losing the game here on this turn, to tell you the truth. So, and this card is gone. Use a 3-point card to launch and draw out a Vasa and launch attacks here and here, which they both won, although they did lose a step, and they ended up having to take one of their Jaegers. They took a complete Jaeger so they could advance 2 units into here, otherwise we'd just be leaving this open, right? And not really gaining the territory we wanted to gain. Make some more reinforcements using the arms train up there. Putting most of them here in Kasha, because a landing here or here has to go through this space. This is also something of a delay, probably, which means Helsinki is not going to get hit by the way the rails are unless all the Germans just hit it. Or I could send 3 Germans after it, which is 15, which is nearly as good a die roll as I can get, and send the rest of the Germans to land somewhere else, maybe to advance on Tampere or Viipuri, which might be difficult for me to get. It's hard to tell because there's nothing defending up here. So the Russian, the red line, I call them the Russians, they're red supported, and a lot of Russians involved, are, but there are Russians involved on the Finnish side too. On the white side, there we go again. When I see the reds and the whites, and the reds are partway through Finland, I'm just thinking a little later on, it's Russians versus Finns, and it's close enough. But yeah, there's a lot of holes in that red line, and it doesn't look like there's going to be an easy way to patch it all. But right now I'm terribly worried about those Germans. Now, do I want to land the Germans right away, or do I want to try to put more pressure with my native troops to see, whether I can do something scary? For example, Tampere is not that well defended right now. Viipuri, I probably can't bust into there. But if I can get Tampere, and the Germans can take Helsinki, and I can hold it till the end of the game. Yeah, hold it till the end of our red player turn. It's over. So that's kind of appealing. A 3-point card, pulled out of here to draw support into this attack, and then moved here and made an attack here. This one was successful. This one, I hit 3 of the reds and only took 1 myself. That's sufficient to make somebody retreat from a major town. And now I'm going to advance these Jaegers into here, because the chance of getting cut off by supply is very, very low at this point in the game. I can always, if the reds attack me here, I can always swing back. I feel like the reds are going to have to expend a big card, and one that they were kind of hoping to play for the event to help defend Tampere, or Tampere. I don't know how it's pronounced. And I'm going to be activating this space, this space, this space. I could do it with just those 3, so maybe I should use a 3 card rather than the 4. Let me check back. This space is possible because I can shift forces from elsewhere. But basically the idea is to get 2 attacks in here with maximum forces. And the first thing I have to do is swap units here. Since this isn't fully stacked, I can start moving units in, right? Yeah. And the same thing here with these guys. I'm going to use that full 4-point card. I'm not going to get another chance to defend. So, all right. So what happens, the way this works, I move a guy here. That's 1. Then I move a guy here. And I move a guy here. And a guy here. And then a guy here. Now these guys aren't going to attack, so I can get rid of this chit. But I'm going to leave this chit on top just to remind me, hey, everybody's set up here to attack. This leaves me some extra defense here. I don't know if that's wise or not. I could have actually pulled them in another direction down to here, but that doesn't really help me. This looks like it's more valuable, but who knows. And for this, there's a little road there that I got to worry about. Let's get him down here and get all of these up here. So now I have 12 against 8, which is not very promising. But if I don't take Tampere back and Helsinki falls, then I got to take one of those 2. And Helsinki's probably going to fall to the Germans one way or another. The dice are not bad. 12 at 6 is 4-star. I wipe them out. And what do I take? I was facing 8 at 4. I take 4-star. Let's take those. I don't really need this space. 1 there, 2 there, and that'll do it. And yes, this space is covered weakly. We'll deal with that if they want to launch an attack over the road there. They're out of Jaegers, which is kind of cool because the other card I was thinking about using for this was the one that hits the Jaeger movement. Oh no, they still got a couple up here. Whites follow things up, throwing more reinforcements in here. I don't want the Reds sneaking up into Vasa. Actually, I came from here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this is as far as I could get. I couldn't get down here to help defend that piece. I use this 2-point card, which, I kind of want to get it out of my deck, but it probably won't come out next time. I got a lot of cards in my deck, right? And then I also attacked into here, but I took some losses. Took 2 points of losses on a 1 against 1 strength point, which really kind of sucks. And that leaves an opening coming up here that now I have to worry about. Yeah. Reds don't take advantage of it. They play a reinforcement card. This one goes back in their hand. I was mistaken about this, a couple of these. This one, not terribly exciting. It's partially manned Red Guards units. So it's not as many troops as I thought it was. It looked kind of appealing and it was like, yeah, I probably want to play it. I may want to play it for its effect anyway. This is 1, and that's fine. That'll get rid of a crappy card. But the one that really hurts me is this one. This can only be played if the white player controls Ratsu or Kamara down here. So I have to actually have made it down, and be besieging Viipuri from all directions. I don't think that's too likely in this particular circumstance, so that card probably is not going to be helpful except as points. But I needed to cover this. I can't let these guys come down, because if they can slice this, well, Helsinki's still a supply source. Oh, I've got everything still, right? I had some interesting choices here. First of all, I don't like that being open, but what I was considering, I'm going to want to play this after this is in place to help clear some space. But what I was considering was playing this for its effect, force the reds to attack. But it only gives me one action point. And if I leave this open, they could attack there, so I would have to kind of move into there with that action point. And then, you know, maybe I'm forcing them to do something that doesn't matter, like an attack here with one of their action points. Maybe they're able to bust into there. Not that that matters much. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to Viipuri with those troops. They've gotten significantly weaker. So anyway, I figure it's time for the Germans to land. So I get 6 of them. And there are 8 in the game, so maybe there are additional reinforcements coming. I'm not a person. No, there's 10 in the game. All right, we can't do this with one hand, I guess. Let's look up our rules on Germans. I got 6 of them out here. Some of the rules are on the cards, some of them are here. And it's kind of a shame, because a card that's this important, yeah, I don't know how to put it. Some of the cards need to be examined by your opponent. And this one, you know, I was able to examine because it gets dealt into the deck specially and everything. It's kind of like, yeah, you probably want to see this. I don't know how that should be expressed. So, for example, you know, the fact that these blue cities are where the Germans can land, that's not obvious. And I don't think it's specified here on the game board. Oh, yeah, it is. Some town names are marked with an N. Okay, that's good enough. Anyway, so what do I want to do? Well, I can drop 3 of them to attack Helsinki. They're not going to be able to move further if they do that. That gets me, you know, a single stack of 3. My special abilities, the Reds suck against them. Red units that fight against Germans get -2. If they attack, they get -1 column shift as well. German units can move after battle even if they're only partially manned. They advance after combat. They do not suffer if supply is cut. Well, because supply being cut isn't a big deal, I could conceivably charge right up to Tampere. Unfortunately, my way is blocked. But I can land here, move here, and launch an attack there. Do I need that many troops? Probably not, but, you know, what else am I going to do with them? I mean, I could land and make an attack directly on Viipuri, which might not be so bad either, because game's over if I go in there. How about we do that? 1, 2, 3. Terrible. All right. These guys are tough to force. So if I'm able to win both these combats, it's all over, man. And there's no further attacks. Okay, so 15 to 6 with -2 on the red battle. 6, that's 3 hits. 15 is 4 and a star. It's a major city, so I do not get the advance. All right, and then same thing here, 15 to 6. However, we got a fortification, which is a column shift switch. So it's going to be 7. It's going to be 13 to 14 to 7 to 8. Yeah. 13 to 14 to 4 is 3 hits. 7 to 8 at 4 is 4 hits. And again, the Germans don't advance. Maybe I want to take my losses differently, because these units are pretty good on their flipped side. And I don't think I want actual casualties, because I get more strength points if I add up. Am I right? 12 versus 9 is really the difference, and that's a column shift. So I'm going to say, because nobody else is going with them. Now, these guys can still be activated, and I probably need that card because that's the only place that has this rule. If they remain in the Gulf of Finland, their activation in following turns will cost 1 action point. After this turn, German units ashore must be activated normally. I assume I can do the same kind of attack coming and landing by activating those German units, and I can activate them all on 1 action point. But I did not get the results I was hoping for, not by a long shot. Yeah, wasn't too far here. One more hit and I'd have been in there. And the fortifications here are hard to deal with. I'd love to play this to eliminate some of these troops here, right? Because they're kind of a danger. The Reds through their 4th recruitment, which gave them some extra meat in those battles. I feel like I have to launch another attack, but my German units have become somewhat fragile. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play... I hate to use this card. What about this card? Can this do what I want? 1, 2... This is the weaker place. But that sucks. Because I can't sail back out or anything. These guys are pretty much committed to Viipuri. How about I do 1, 2, not this unit. The Germans involved means I don't get that -2 penalty for the space. And 3, an attack into there. Come back with what happens. Reason these guys have to move is I'm going to get 2 stacks going against Viipuri there. Things don't quite work for the whites. This attack kind of failed. Over here, of course, succeeded. And now we've got quite a force against Tampere. But it's looking less and less likely that we're going to be able to take everything down. And notably, because I didn't destroy these, or these, or, you know, I mean, well, these guys would have a hard time getting to them, right? They would have to go 2-4 or 2-4, neither of which they can do. So, yeah, because I didn't destroy these guys, they have a capability to combine and maybe wipe out some Germans, because those are fragile. Take a lot of hits doing it, but I think it's kind of worth it, because these are probably not going to be able to make it down while that's there. I'll think about it. Indeed, I'm going to launch both of these against that. This may not be wise. Let's see. But this is the main thing I'm worried about. This could take that town, and with these guys thrown in, maybe I can do better. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10 to 12. That doesn't sound very good to begin with. And on top of that, we're at -2 on attack and a -1 column shift. So we're going to be over here on the 7 to 8 to 12. But the reason is this is an attrition fight right now. Okay, 7 or 8. Yeah, I killed 1. And it was 12 with a 4. They kill 4 of mine. These guys don't matter. I'm going to kill these off. The only reason they're there is to try to weaken this. They can't do much. I mean, they could retake Viipuri if it falls. That's about the only thing. Because there's, it's hard to tell with these huge circles in the way, but movement is very, very constrained. There's no route up here. There's no easy outflanks in this map. So I'm forced to play the 4-point card because my options are a 4 or a 2, and I want to make this attack and this attack. There's a possibility that I can get a successful attack on Vipori. I also threw some forces up here just because things are looking like maybe I'll open up a hole and lose Vasa, and that would be terrible. So this is one of the nice places to block, although I would have pushed it further if I could have. All right, so this one is the least important, 3-1. There's like a 50-50 chance, though, that I lose my unit attack in there. And look, I win. Nothing happens. Oh, well. Now the question is, do I want to go to the auto victory here, or do I just say these pieces, do these pieces have another use other than trying to take Vipori at this point in the game? And I think the answer is no. I think this force can try to come down and take Helsinki, but then we've got, we cut the supply line, didn't we? If the Reds don't do something about it, which of course they will, and that centers here and here. Those are the supply line spaces. All right, so this attack, and I don't have to lose Germans here, I hope. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 to 6. -2 to the Reds. Okay, 16 at 4. I'm just gonna take most of the Reds out. And 6 at 2. I'll kill one of these damaged guys. Who wants to advance? Yeah, that's a good question. 1, 2, 3. I'm not going to be able. From here, 1, 2, 3, 4. He has to retreat. That's the first thing. And he really only has one place to go. The question is whether I trust one white guard there or a bunch of Choimans. And it doesn't have to be the whole bunch of Germans. It could be a mixture of the two. This is ugly because I have to launch an attack against this space or this space, and these are only achievable by being attacked by one stack, which means I think my Germans are going to end up separated anyway. So I'm going to do this. I think. Yeah. I don't know. And we'll hope we can win this battle, because if we can, it's not necessarily game over, but it's pretty close. Which means the Reds have, 2 cards left. The Reds are going to attack Temperi again. We're going to do it this way. 2 units there. This unit isn't really doing us much good, so I'll push it down. It's full movement points. And let's leave a marker here. I also moved from here, reinforcements here, making it a lot harder for the Germans to get down that way. Now the paths are blocked here and here. Helsinki's beginning to look like it's pretty darn strong. There's, tricky ways down, whatever. And these guys could join in, so I don't know. But I got these Germans spread out all over. And I did not launch an attack there. But there's going to be an attack here. And that's 6. There are Germans involved, shit. 6 to 6. This is probably not going to work, but it was sort of the best thing I could think of. 6 to 6, -2 with a column shift against me. Yeah, this is horrible. Okay. So I get a 1 on attack, which does nothing, and 3 hits on the Reds, and that was not a useful attack. Even if I got hits, it would be against these guys. Basically, I was trying to make some value out of the forces that I've got trapped up there, but yeah, that That may cost the game now. I don't know. Only if I would have launched an attack against this, another attack against that, which would have been possible. But it would have been really a crappy attack. Which means it's the white turn. What's my way out? Eight to 4. I'm not going to clear them out. 4. It's a pretty good chance I'm not going to get 2 extra hits. It's not guaranteed, and if I get them, I win. So, I mean, if I roll a 4 or higher, and he rolls a 3 or less with that -2 on him, I get in there and I win the game. Oh, yeah, I don't know if it's me. He's got one card to stop me. If that doesn't happen, then how do I want to be set up? Well, I'm going to need to defend this better either way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch this attack. I'm going to pull these down. So what did I say? 8 to 4. Because I really don't have a lot of hope of blasting through there. I mean, yeah, I got a lot of cards. We'll see. Maybe I get more German troops. I don't know. What's my white card? Is it more Germans? No. Civil Guards in the south, though. It could be very useful, I guess. I don't know. Doesn't look it. Yeah. All right. And we don't win. We take 1 loss, but we only cause 2 casualties. And now it's much tougher because that was my last card. Shit. And I bumped. Goddamn. I don't even know what the hell's where. Where'd these guys come from? I think probably up here. Damn shirt. Anyway. I didn't make my 4. And here's the problem. I gotta take this. I gotta take this both next turn. I only took 1 place this turn. My reinforcements are going to be stronger. My cards may be a little stronger, but I don't know. The Reds used up a lot of their replacement cards, so they may not have much in the way of reinforcements. They have 2 spaces, though, which is going to give them 4 additional troops. I have, I don't know, 3 spaces, which is going to give me 9 additional troops. What's this? The card I cannot play because... And if you know this card exists, you're never going to go down there because that's just too painful, right? So that's going to be a 3-point action card, and I have no clue what to do. Probably try to evacuate troops because, probably try to kill this, actually. Yeah, I'm going to get my reinforcements. 1, 2, 3. I got 6 to 4. I'm activating these 3 spaces. This was 2 spaces. 6 to 4. Six drops down to this table. I get a 3. I get the kill. 4, 1. It hurts 1. This is so useful, but a full strength unit in there seems more valuable. All right. Supply situation. Shit, there I go again. What the hell? I've got it rolled up too. It's just really clumsy with this. It feels comfy. I just don't realize how much extra sleeve there is. And I'm on a low chair. I'm not standing. I often am standing when I'm gaming. Okay, supplies. There's a white line going up to Tampere here. There is no white line here. These guys are all sick. And all this territory turns white. For whatever value that is, this too. I don't know how much that matters. These guys are all fine in Helsinki. This should be a red space. I can get rid of this one, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't make a difference. They're all on the same border there. This space is out of supply. Hey, I get this back. So I can put this here. It's not quite going to fit. All of these go away. This is a white space. They are no longer white. They got captured because they're not in supply. Okay. So that is the end of April, and we'll be going into May. Each side only gets one additional card in their deck, and we saw the white one. The red one is this card may be played as an event only if the white player calls Tampere. You get +2 attack on red guards from 1 or 2 towns. That's pretty useful. Maybe you don't want to take this red. Yeah, you do. But yeah, it gives a nice counterattack available on the next turn. All right, this one's getting loaded up, and we get to the beginning of the next turn. I don't know if we'll do that tonight. It's getting late.